Alright guys, well we're getting ready for Carlisle here. So you see I'm getting stuff packed up in the truck here. Getting it ready to go, taking some stuff to sell. Some stuff people already bought, so loading that up. What I wanted to do was go over something with you guys real quick. Specifically electrical, more specific being a big 3 upgrade and relocating the battery. Now as I showed you guys, I've relocated my battery here. So real quick, I'll show you how it goes together, and then we'll talk about the wiring. Basically for this box in particular, these studs go all the way down through the frame, and I have it bolted down underneath, and then it bolts the bottom plate down. This outside is actually a separate piece that you then slide down, and then your cap. As you see, the battery itself is also bolted down. And then I also have it vented down out of the bottom of the car where the spare tire is supposed to go. That's kind of the idea behind a box, is you're sealing off anything that can seep out. There's different routes you can go as far as what you use for actually powering the car. I went with 2-gauge welding wire, which will flow a little more current than say audio wire. That'll help with starting. And then for the other accessories, so let you see, I just ran a 0 gauge for the audio that runs all the amps. Here's our ground. I went with a 0 gauge ground because you always want your ground to be matching your biggest power wire. So here's the main ground. That's bolted to the frame basically back here underneath the carpet. And then I also did a loop here and utilized how it's bolted to the frame as another ground, so that if one fails, I have a backup while also continue to have a really good grounding system. Something else you could do, some others have, is if you run a ground up to the front to your engine. It's not ideal to have to run all of that cable back and forth, but you can do it. That's really it back here. You can see it's a nice snug fit, and she does the job. So now up here, really no right or wrong. Again, your car, you want to do how you want it. I chose going up the passenger side since the battery's right there. I was able to go down and hide it all underneath all the carpet when I had this car torn apart. And it actually pops up back here in the firewall where the automatic cables used to go. I just turn around and use that same rubber boot to slide the power cable. It comes up and attaches to our alternator here. At the alternator, I have that power wire. I have the original wire that senses voltage, and then another 2-gauge wire on top of that. So basically using this as a distribution block. So from there, I went back down, hit it along the frame rail, and brought it up to the starter. Now, I'm not going to be able to get down there, but I can tell you on the starter, on the actual power side of it, now from factory, GM utilized that as a power distribution. So there's a few wires on there that go to a few different things as a constant power. So again, I ran a 2-gauge to that. The normal wires that already go there, and then another wire on top of that. So we're doing a nice daisy chain, to which that comes up to right here. This guy, and this guy powers a fuse box, which powers the rest of the car. Now when I put all this together, I kind of tested as I went, and I've had no issues with this setup. The only issues I've had are grounds. I did struggle with the grounding at the beginning, but I got that finally sorted out, and it's been smooth sailing since. Now you can go down your driver's side, if you opted to go across and then up. Nothing wrong with that. When I did systems before, when the battery's up front, I ran it down that side just fine. You can do the same thing, you can hide it. It also would be a little easier because you'll come to your fuse box first, and then you can daisy chain off that. But again, I suggest using that 2-gauge or bigger welding wire because it does push a little more current. As far as the length of the car for wiring, I did about 20 foot, and that got me up to the front, and then the stuff in the engine bay, and I think I had a couple feet left over, which is always good. You always want to have more. So yeah, about 20 foot there. Something else to do, I saw in the new car that we're picking up, I haven't got around to doing it yet, is a breaker. Now, my guess would be about 150 to 200 amp breaker, so that you're still able to feed your starter enough amperage to get the car started. So that wraps up relocating the battery. Let's go up front and talk about your big three. Now, for a big three setup that we're going to talk about, we're going to have to play pretend a little bit, because I want to explain it so that you guys with your batteries up front can do it. So the idea behind a big three upgrade is 2 better grounds and a better power wire. So the better power wire is going to go from your battery to your alternator. Basically what you're trying to do is eliminate, dimming, power dips, stuff like that. So you're going to run a bigger, thicker cable like such. Again, this is 0 gauge. So basically, as a visual, the battery's right there. What I see you guys do is they come up and around to your alternator. That's number 1. You've got your 3 main grounds that keep an engine and all the electronics happy. Engine to chassis, engine to battery, and battery to chassis. So the 2 grounds we're going to worry about are battery to block and block basically to chassis. And having these bolts here, or these threads, is a great place to put a ground. So with one of your big 3 grounds, go from your battery, which is sitting right here, right over to your head. Really simple, keeps it short, it does the job. Now for your block to chassis, you won't have all this, but I'm just going to point this way. So on your transmission are a couple stud bolts. You'll see ground packs on. Grab one of those guys and you'll come over here. Now you can either use this guy or do your own, but it's a good spot. Even with an air box, you'll still have room to run wire up this way. So for something, under here for wire length, if you got yourself about 10 foot of both red and black, wire's pretty decently priced. There'll be plenty for you. Something else to keep in mind is, if you're going to keep the stock battery, if you need to get different terminals to help with that. Like on my brother's, what we did is, again, that's like stud bolt terminal looking thing. So it bolts the regular wire on, but then it has a stud that you can add stuff on. Another route is like the battery I have in the back. The red top has both top and side posts. That's great for applications like this. If you're going to be planning on running audio, not a bad idea to run a good quality battery too. Whether it be a red top, yellow top, whatever else is out there. We're mid-range audio as far as our group, so we never went crazy with, buying crazy expensive batteries. Optima has done well for us over the years. So that is your big 3, a general sense, kind of visualizing here. I hope it helps you guys out. If you have questions, let me know. I've got quite a bit of info picked up on this. I want to do this more for the visuals for you guys. I also wanted to, real quick, kind of touch base on grounds, just because grounds are, for most of those that live in the Rust Belt, we struggle with this. One that comes to mind, and just any of you out there, just do this as a good peace of mind. It's not really doing the big 3, but you are helping your grounding situation. So on these cars, from your battery, the main ground, one of the main grounds, goes down to where the engine and trans meet along with the ground pack. It's literally like right here. So, and then so basically what happens is down below, it's all open, your salt kicks up, whatever, and the ground, if not the ground and ground pack, break off. Years ago when I ran into that, gauges would go on and off, the car would stutter, battery light would flash on and off, and then the next day would be fine. Come down here, start playing with stuff. We'll end up by finding I pulled the whole ground out and went, oh, okay, well, there's the problem. Right off the bat, any of you can do this. At least with the V6s, I'm not too keen on where grounds are on the 4-bangers, but I'm sure you could do something similar. But this grounding right here that I've done, just instead of the chassis, go to your battery, which will be right here. You know, you can hide it like that, however you need to, but just a ground to the head would save a lot of headache if that other one breaks. Extra grounds never hurt. Get yourself some simple terminals like this. These will work with your battery. You crimp them down, you find yourself a nice bolt. Or the good part with this spot right here is you guys will have your engine hoist mount. You can take that off, scruff it up a bit, get all the paint off of it, utilize that same bolt with, you know, said guy, and you're not even taking anything off. You're literally just adding a ground and saving yourself a headache down the road potentially. So that's all I got for you guys today. Like I said, real quick, just wanted to touch base on that. I said I was going to, and I figured it's a good opportunity to do some filler content. We're getting ready for Carlisle, and that's probably gonna take a while to go through. So, like I said, any questions, let me know. You know, hit me up any of the comments on the pages. I can get you the info you need. Plenty of write-ups out there. Till next one, thanks for watching, and I'll see ya.